Am I the a-hole for wanting nothing to do with the child my brother is having with my ex and refusing to acknowledge them naming their kid after me? I, 20 male, dated my now ex-best friend Aaliyah from age 13 to 17. We'd been best friends since pre-K, and I adored her. I thought we'd get married as adults and have a family. But then I found out she was cheating with my brother, currently 19 male. My relationship with both of them was over when I found out, and it was messy for months. Aaliyah wanted me back. She told me she made a mistake, and that we were meant to be together. My brother wanted me to see it as a mistake at first, but then he wanted Aaliyah, and he told me he fell in love with her and wanted me to accept it and support them being together. Then Aaliyah wanted my brother. So before I moved out, they were together and dating. I avoided them like the plague, and anytime they tried talking to me, I told them to get the heck away from me and treated them like a disease. A couple of times, my brother and I almost came to blows because he started getting angry that I wasn't willing to forgive them. He accused me of trying to break them up. One time it got really close after a fight because I said I hoped the two of them were miserable and banged everything that moved until they destroyed whatever love they thought they had. He didn't like me saying it, but I meant it. When I moved out, I refused to see my brother after that. My parents understood, but told me they hoped in the future we could be in the same room. Some family invite the two of us to events, and I skip them to avoid him. Other family members invite only me. It's caused some tension. I told those people in my family that if they want to invite my brother to keep the drama down, I'd see them other times. But I have some really loyal family. There was some tension several months ago when my brother and Aaliyah were in an accident. I didn't go to the hospital, and I only called to see how my parents were doing. I didn't care about my brother or Aaliyah at all. It rubbed some people the wrong way. It upset Aaliyah really badly too, and my brother started talking crap about me to some family. Then, after a while, he tried to get a cousin who speaks to us both to mediate for us, and I told my cousin he didn't need to because I still wanted nothing to do with my brother. My brother and Aaliyah are having a baby now, and apparently, once they found out they were having a boy, they decided to name him after me. This was used to try and bring me back into the fold. I have some family telling me I need to be in my nephew's life and that I better fix things between the three of us before he's born. But I don't want a relationship with their kid, and them naming him after me changes nothing for me. It's getting me some grief from family members who say I should be over it by now, and that my only brother should be more important than some teenage cheating. I was told by some people on my side, and others on the side of forgiveness, that my brother and Aaliyah's relationship gets more strained the longer I refuse to have anything to do with them. The family on my side tell me as a heads up for dramatic relatives. The people on the side of forgiveness tell me to shame me for potentially putting the baby through a broken family from day one. They said I wished ill on the relationship, and now a baby is involved, so I shouldn't want everyone miserable and should want a relationship with the child. They say it's disgusting that I'm not willing to put the past behind us so I can be an uncle. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, that's not a namesake. It's emotional whiplash in a baby blanket. Seriously, it's not a tribute. It's a twisted guilt trip wrapped in a diaper. They blew up OP's world and now want a gold star for slapping his name on their mess? Wild. Let's not forget a child carrying OP's name will forever be a reminder of what happened, and the kid will inevitably grow up with people resenting him. He might even become a messed up adult when he grows up. Terrible thing to do in my opinion. Not the a-hole. Unless they want you around to one day tell your nephew why he's named after you and how you used to date his mom, they should shut the heck up. I don't know what they're thinking of with that stunt. It'll only mess the kid up, especially if before they tell him they talk about me as some loving uncle who wants a relationship. Just because you share DNA with someone does not mean they are entitled to a relationship with you. My brothers are both blocked. Unfortunately, that means I have no relationship with their offspring either. I don't miss them. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my sister to my wedding because she always jokes about sleeping with my fiancé? Okay, so I'm getting married in October. Small, chill, nothing crazy. Should be a happy time, right? Except my older sister, 31 female, has this thing where she constantly flirts with my fiancé, 29 male, like aggressively. And it's always under the guise of, "Oh my god, I'm just joking. Don't be so sensitive." First time she met him, she deadass said, "Wow, you upgraded." I'd let him ruin my life too, in front of me. I laughed it off because I didn't want to seem insecure, but like, WTF. Then she started with the, "If you ever get bored of her, you know who to call," comments. Again in front of me. I told her it was weird, and she rolled her eyes and said I'm too uptight. She's made so many little jabs. I saw him shirtless once. Damn girl, you got lucky. If you die first, I call dibs. Too bad you got to him first, lol. Like it never ends. My fiancé thinks it's awkward but tries to ignore it. He's not flirtatious back, but he also doesn't really shut it down either. Just gets uncomfortable and laughs nervously. Last weekend was the last straw. We were at my parents' house, and I left to grab something from my car. Came back and heard her saying, "I swear I'm not making this up. I mean, if you're having second thoughts, I'm always available. Just kidding. Unless," like the unless was real. That's not a joke anymore. That's a goddamn come on. I snapped. Told her she's disgusting and can't come to the wedding. She flipped, cried. Told my mom I was being dramatic. Now the whole family's saying I'm ruining the family over a joke and she's just always been flirty and doesn't mean anything by it. I don't even care if she meant it or not anymore. I just don't want that energy around me when I'm trying to get married. But now it's this whole thing, and I'm apparently the villain for excluding her and making it a bigger deal than it is. Am I the a-hole for uninviting her, or is this actually insane? Because at this point, I feel like I'm losing it. Not the a-hole. Why the heck would you ever make comments like this about someone's significant other, especially in private to him with you not around? Instead of admitting her wrong, she continues to gaslight you into believing you're insecure and overreacting. Ultimately, it's your wedding, and if she can't respect you and your boundaries, then she doesn't have to be there. She disrespected me, and I'm her own sister. That says everything I need to know. Thank you for your comment. Seriously, it means a lot. You're not the one dividing the family. She is. She is the one making inappropriate comments. And she is the one who does not know when to stop. Not the a-hole. You're absolutely not the villain here. Your sister repeatedly disrespected your relationship and dismissed your boundaries and made your fiancé visibly uncomfortable, and that's what's dividing the family. Not you protecting your peace. Uninviting her is setting a boundary she's long ignored. Here's the truth. The sister fancies her sister's boyfriend. How would she react if it were other way around? Seen too many fights and betrayals on social media that these jokes and feelings can ruin lives. If I were in a situation like this, I'd never bring a girl home, as it's always a recipe for ruination. My advice, go no contact. Thank you. I think you're right. It also sounds like your sister and family has no regard for your feelings at all. Do you feel like the villain frequently in your family? Has your sister always been the child that could do no wrong in your family? If so, you might want to look into scapegoating. As the family scapegoat myself with a narcissistic brother, this is sounding very familiar. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not naming my second son after my husband's late half-sister when we named our first son after his late brother? My husband lost his younger brother in an accident as a child. My husband was 7 and his brother was 6. My husband felt strongly about honoring his brother with our first son's name. So we did it in a less direct way. My husband called his brother AJ, and he was the only person to do so. The rest of the family and friends used his brother's full first name or a shortened version of the full name. His middle name had a J, so we chose a J middle name from our list too, and everyone calls our oldest AJ. I gave birth to our second son recently, and we went with another name off our list. This was taken badly by his mom and stepdad and some of his maternal family. When my husband was a teenager, his mom had another child, his half-sister, and she died from a childhood cancer at the age of 3. Her name was a unisex name, and they were expecting us to use it for baby number 2, regardless of the sex of our second child. When we didn't, it started a fight. My husband's mom and stepdad were mad at him for honoring one lost sibling and not the other. His mom was very upset about it. Eventually, their anger turned to me because they said I knew. My husband defended me and told them it was wrong to pressure me and expect me to make that decision and force it on him. His dad also stepped in and defended us. The maternal relatives fighting it were quick to say this had nothing to do with him because she wasn't his child, and said he'd feel the same way in my husband's mom's shoes. The whole thing ended with everyone else leaving our house, but his mom keeps insisting we were wrong and how it shows a favoritism between the 2 siblings he lost. She told him it made her feel like his full brother was more important to him than his half-sister. I can see how much she's hurting, but my husband only felt the wish to honor his brother, so we did. We didn't even use the exact same name. That didn't matter to his mom or the others complaining. Am I the a-hole for not using his half-sister's name, even if we didn't really want to? Now for the comments. Naming your child isn't a family grief contest, and love for one lost sibling doesn't erase the memory of another. Your son isn't a tribute token, and it's not cruel to protect his name from obligation. His mom is thinking this is full versus half, instead of thinking this is same gender sibling 1 year apart versus opposite gender sibling at least a decade apart. That being said, his poor mother has lost 2 children at young ages. I cannot even imagine the unspeakable pain and grief she has endured. Her feelings on this are wrong and irrational, but I have to admit that I have a hard time judging her for the occasional irrational behavior given what she has endured. That doesn't excuse her from laying it on them though either. She needs to see a therapist if she can't handle the grief. Not the a-hole. What a mess. It's not a contest. Also, your children don't only exist to serve as a memorial to her dead children, as harsh as that sounds. It is an honorable gesture to name a child in honor of someone, but should never be expected and taken for granted. And maybe your husband did have a better connection to his brother. Unfortunately, since she passed at such a young age, which is tragic, no discussion about that, and he was in his teens at the time, you can't blame him for maybe not being as involved. Additionally, the family dynamics at the time maybe weren't as easy too. One can't fault him for that. Ever since his parents' divorce, the relationship has been difficult. It only got worse after his brother died. It's unfortunate, but tragedy can bring out the worst in some people. My youngest child was named after 2 people. Their father, a feminized version of his name for their first name, and middle is a name with the same meaning as that of my brother, has passed away a year before my youngest was born. My child's father then passed away when they were 8. When my child was about 11-ish, it became clear that for them their names were a burden and they asked to change their name. Child is 13 now, and very happy with a non-memorial name. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to walk my disabled brother down the aisle at my own wedding? Hi Reddit. I, 29 female, am getting married next month. My fiancé, 31 male, and I have been planning a small, intimate ceremony. And honestly, it's been a lot of emotional work for me. I've always dreamed of this day being peaceful and simple, especially because I've struggled with anxiety and CPTSD most of my life. I have a younger brother, 24 male, who is disabled. He's in a wheelchair and has some developmental delays, but he's sweet, kind, and everyone loves him. I love him too, but growing up, everything revolved around him. Birthdays, holidays, family events, all were shaped around his needs. I often felt invisible. When I got engaged, my family asked if I would have my brother walk me down the aisle. We lost our dad 3 years ago. I gently said no. I told them I loved him dearly, but I really wanted to walk down alone, or maybe with my mom. It felt like a personal moment, something just for me. They didn't take it well. They said I was being cruel and selfish, that I was ashamed of my brother, that he'd be devastated. Even my fiancé's family's now involved, asking if I could just compromise for one day. I feel horrible. But at the same time, for once I just wanted one day where I didn't have to share everything. Is that really so awful? Now for the comments. This is your wedding, your time to shine. Don't be ashamed for standing up for yourself for what you want and deserve. Thank you. I spent so much of my life putting others first, especially in my family, that just hearing someone say I'm allowed to take up space feels huge. Of course, you should put yourself as a priority at least this time. I'm sure your family will come to understand that too. Stay strong. You got this. I've been second-guessing myself so much, but I'm starting to realize that I do deserve to feel at peace and celebrated on my wedding day. I suggest simply telling everyone you have always planned to walk down the aisle alone with a special keepsake or locket with a picture or something personal of your dad coming along with you. Don't ask your mom, as she will probably volunteer to give up her spot so your brother can do it, which is not what you are wanting. So don't even throw that out there and give anyone a chance to change your dream wedding into something they want, instead of listening to what you are wanting on your special day. Don't feel bad about making one day about yourself and your fiancé. Your brother is a guest and can be seated in the audience just like everyone else. Typically, only the mothers get walked down the aisle, so he should not be included in this tradition either, unless you want him to be. Still sounds like your mom is wanting him to shine at every moment, even if it isn't actually about him. It is ableist to make things about the disabled person and pander to them all the time. If he were not disabled, they would not push this. Tell them you will respect his autonomy as a person and not pander to him. I had a disabled sister, recently passed. I am much older than you, and my mom constantly did stuff like this. She centered everything on my sister. In many ways, it was more about my mom and not my sister. We loved my sister dearly, but she got all the oxygen in the room at my mom's insistence, and it was not healthy for her or anyone else. She did not get to have real friendships or relationships because my mom was always there to say, you need to include them more. We did include her, but if we were discussing a complex personal medical issue, etc., my mom would insist we include my sister, and we would have to pretend her treatment ideas were valid. We could be discussing my husband's job that he went to school for many years for, very technical, and my mom would pretend my sister knew about that topic and ask her to weigh in. Every moment belonged to her first, and we had to pretend she was capable of everything, instead of acknowledging her limitations and being okay with it. Don't let them guilt you. Say no. Have a great day. Set boundaries now. If anyone questions it, throw it back on them, and say you will not pander to him and be ableist by giving him a role that you do not want filled.